Consumers want to know the facts about the products they buy. But America's agriculture landscape is not easy to navigate. Between different companies, scientific advancement, government regulations, advertising campaigns, and an unhealthy amount of myth and misconception, anyone would be hard-pressed to make sense of it. That's where Real Ag comes in. From the producers who make your food to the store where you buy the final product and everything in between. This is Real Ag. Farmers need to be shrewd when picking what crops to plant. Choosing the right crop for their land and for their pocketbook is essential in keeping a working farm afloat. A crop that is making a comeback in the U.S. is industrial hemp. Having been banned from growing in the U.S. because of its relation to marijuana, industrial hemp has begun to be grown in several states, including Kansas. We will take a look at industrial hemp on this episode of Real Ag. Production of Real Ag is made possible in part by an underwriting grant from
the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by farmers.
A crop now available to the Kansas farmer is industrial hemp. Industrial hemp is a strain of the cannabis sativa plant species that is grown specifically for the industrial uses of its derived products. It is one of the fastest growing plants and has a great diversity of products it can be used for.
It's one of the most fascinating plants on the face of the planet. And it's a cousin even to hops. Like you put in beer, it's a close cousin to hops. So there's so much going on with that plant. And I think that American farmers have a tremendous opportunity right now to move ahead with a new crop.
Because I personally think it's a miracle crop. And as a miracle crop, we're going to have a whole new enterprise throughout the United States of America. And our farmers are going to benefit from it, and that's my biggest excitement, helping farmers continue to grow.
It gives them an opportunity to lengthen their rotations, which means that you're messing up your bugs and your diseases and your weeds because they're all different. And it also has so much potential for a market for eventually for livestock feed, for fiber, for human food, and for, in some very highly controlled situations, remarkable medicinal oils.
You can make over 50,000 products with it. We make hemp cookie dough. We make hemp pizza crust. We have hemp cookie dough now in grocery stores. The benefits of it: high protein, high fiber, omega-3, omega-6, omega-9. It's almost like you have a healthy cookie. I'm not going to call it a healthy cookie. I'm going to call it a cookie made of hemp. So the benefits are they're unlimited. Chairs, clothing, horse stall bedding, kitty litter, hempcrete buildings that can be made that literally can't be burnt down because they're made of hemp.
You've got the medicinal oils. Okay? You have pressed from the seeds rather than from the flowers, you get things like salad oil for salad dressings. That's two. You can take the pressed cake that's left over after the oil, and you can grind that up and you can make hemp flour out of it, which is incredibly nutritious. It's got a remarkable profile for micronutrients and things like that, equivalent of pistachios and oysters and clams. The point is that it's very, very nutritious, and those things actually relate to a healthy immune system. You can make fiber, you can make clothing out of that fiber, you can make rope out of that fiber, you can make paper out of that fiber.
Biofuels. It will produce about 260 to 280 gallons of biofuel per acre. That biofuel could be nearly readily put into a diesel motor and run. You can take the biofuel and you can make biodegradable plastics from it. So there's a lot of uses in that area there, and I mean, that's probably just touching the tip of the iceberg. I feel that because of its industrial use abilities, that will never exceed the demand of industrial hemp.
As the growing and manufacturing of industrial hemp becomes more popular, many states will have to make changes on how they view industrial hemp. So, how does the state of Kansas view industrial hemp?
Well, actually, in the last couple of years in the state legislature, we have broadened exactly how the state of Kansas is moving forward with the industrial hemp either research pilot program or now what was passed in the 2019 legislative session, which was the commercialization of hemp. In 2014 in the federal farm bill, it allowed for a research program to be established within the states in regards to industrial hemp. And so in 2018, after many years of advocacy and also trying to get it implemented in the state of Kansas, it was finally passed by the legislature in 2018, signed by the governor, and then we started establishing a research pilot program within the state of Kansas regarding industrial hemp. After the federal farm bill of 2018 that was passed in December of 2018 by Congress, that changed the definition from industrial hemp to commercial hemp. And so we had to go back and change some of the statutes regarding the industrial hemp research program that we passed in 2018 during the 2019 legislative session, which basically opened it up even further in regards to commercial hemp. Probably the biggest hesitation in regarding to legalize hemp is its relationship or its cousin to marijuana. There is still a lot of hesitancy, especially with your law enforcement groups, who still want to control hemp as a substance the same way that you would control marijuana. Even though hemp does not have the THC levels that marijuana does, they are distantly related. They could look similar. And so that is the reason why there's been some hesitancy in reestablishing hemp as a product that our farmers in the state of Kansas can grow as a crop.
The industrial hemp is Cannabis sativa, it's the wild one. The marijuana is Cannabis indica, so that's a South Asian crop. The main difference is that the indica, the marijuana, has high levels of what's called THC.
THC is the ingredient in hemp plants that is produced to create a high. So people smoke it, and today they vape it, and today they make things out of it, edibles out of it. You eat a cookie and you get stoned, high, stoned. That's THC. That's hemp. The sad part is hemp with genetic seeds that don't produce the same THC content, they were also treated like a narcotic. That's where the issues came in, because one is completely different than the other. One has CBD in it, it has terpenes in it, it has benefits for health and wellness, it has benefits for building materials. It's amazing that it's been suppressed so long and someone didn't come along and change that a long time ago. And I'm so excited for the farmer, and I'm so excited for America, because we're going to bring manufacturing jobs back to America with hemp. Hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs will come back because of hemp.
The sativa, the wild stuff, the ditchweed, does not have the same levels of the psychologically active components. And so it's got a lot of other pharmacological components, but they're not the ones that are going to get you stoned. But most people don't know that. For them, it's all the same stuff.
Industrial hemp, which growing up I thought was marijuana. It's around the farm. We fought it, we sprayed it, we mowed it. It always come back. It's a resilient plant. You just can't seem to kill it. Marijuana is high in THC values. Industrial hemp is 0.03% THC or less. So it has no values as far as smoking or getting high off of it or nothing or anything like that. It's just a plant. But marijuana is its bad cousin.
Hemp has a THC level much lower or almost non-existent as compared to marijuana, where the hallucinogens in marijuana are like over 20% THC, and where the legalized hemp or the hemp that will be grown as a crop in the state of Kansas has to have a TH level less than 0.3% in order to be sold in the marketplace. So those are the biggest differences between hemp and marijuana. Also, hemp can be used, as far as talking about the crop itself, the entire plant can be used, where the stock can be used for textiles or clothing, or what they're also talking about making hempcrete, which is concrete made out of the stock from hemp. Or you can use the flowers for the oils, or you can use the seed for seed extraction, or also for food. And so the whole entire plant can possibly be used as some type of product that can be sold in the market.
Industrial hemp has a long history, not just in Kansas, but all across America. As early as 1616, cultivation began in North America with the arrival of settlers. In towns such as Jamestown, they began growing hemp for its unusually strong fiber. In 1762, the state of Virginia rewarded farmers with bounties of hemp culture and manufacture, and imposed penalties upon those who did not produce it. Without hemp, America could not have successfully waged the revolution, and for the next 150 years, hemp enjoyed the position of America's top cash crop. After 1850, hemp lost ground to cheaper products made of cotton, jute, sisal, and petroleum. Hemp was produced by hand, which was labor-intensive and costly. In 1937, U.S. Congress passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which criminalized the drug. The act derived from articles in newspapers owned by William Randolph Hearst, who had significant financial interests in the timber industry that manufactured his newsprint papers. From 1940s to 1957, World War II brought on the final burst in American hemp fiber production. The USDA's Hemp for Victory campaign successfully convinced growers to again embrace hemp. From 1950 to 1961, hemp is banned in the U.S. due to misconceptions around different types of cannabis plants. The last significant hemp crop in U.S. had been harvested and processed. The UN allows for the cultivation of industrial hemp. In 1970, the Controlled Substance Act categorizes hemp as marijuana. In 2014, through the Farm Bill, President Obama legalizes limited industrial hemp farming in the United States, the beginning of the end of industrial hemp prohibition in the states.
Then it was the Federal Farm Bill of 2014 that really opened up the idea of looking at the products, whether that be textiles, clothing, oils, food, whatever the case may be, that can be generated from hemp. And so the first step was basically in the 2014 Federal Farm Bill, allowing for states to have a research program that they could look at what different type of products could be made from industrial hemp and how those products can be sold in the marketplace. Like I said, in 2018, then that changed in the Federal Farm Bill again, where it basically broadened that the ability to grow hemp, where it moved it from a research program to actually a commercial program within the cultivation of hemp. Now that has come to be somewhat problematic, trying to reintroduce this possible agricultural crop back into the markets. But that is the reason why at this point a lot of states, including the state of Kansas, has moved forward with either industrial hemp, or now in the 2019 legislative session, we passed it for commercial hemp. During the law that was passed in the 2018 legislative session, because we were under the auspices of the Federal Farm Bill of 2014, we had to establish a research program. So I actually served on the advisory committee with the Department of Agriculture. I was asked to serve on that by the former Secretary of Agriculture, Jackie McClaskey, with two other legislators and also other members who had a vested interest either in the hemp industry or in law enforcement or in the research programs at the universities. And so we sat down and we kind of set up the rules and regulations, very similar to what has been done in other states, namely the state of Kentucky, is where we mirrored a lot of the rules and regulations that we formed in the state of Kansas. So what that basically meant for growers, distributors, or processors in the state of Kansas is that they would have to apply with the Department of Agriculture and basically state exactly what their research program was going to specify when they were growing industrial hemp. They also had to have a background check, fingerprinting, a KBI background check. They had to submit an application fee, and then also if they were approved, by the advisory committee. Then they would have to also submit money for a license to basically state that they are able to grow hemp within the state of Kansas. Now that is going to be changing as we move into the law that was passed in 2019, which modified the language in statute from 2018 to 2019, basically moving that from a research program to a crop that can be grown in the state of Kansas. So the licensure fee has been reduced. For a grower, it was $1,000 under the first Industrial Hemp program. Now it's going to be at $50. So it's been reduced quite a bit. You won't have to have the background checks or the fingerprinting. So it's going to be changing as we move from a research program into the commercialization of hemp. It may take some time because just for the fact that we haven't been able to grow the crop for many years, to reinstate it back into the farmers and then also into the markets, we are going to have processors and distributors hopefully come into the state of Kansas. Now like I mentioned before, we've already been seeing that. In fact, we have a manufacturing firm who's going to manufacture hemp harvesters coming into the state of Kansas, predominantly because they like the laws that we passed in regards to either industrial hemp or commercial hemp in the state of Kansas. They are more amicable than in other states, actually where this company had been located. So we are seeing a marketplace generating in the state of Kansas. How much time it will take until it matures into the market where we'd like to see it, that's a little bit harder to speculate. We're hoping it'll only be a few years because not only are we having other distributors or processors thinking about moving to the state of Kansas, we have others who are actually, during the licensing process, submitted applications and were approved for the applications for being a distributor or processor. So hopefully it won't be that long of a time frame and we can get this started pretty quickly. I would say probably the two biggest things that I can see where may deter a farmer from wanting to grow hemp are the upfront costs. The seeds are fairly expensive, so hopefully over time maybe we can bring the price of seeds down. The other is equipment. You have to do some modifications either to your existing equipment, which is going to cost some money up front, or you're going to have to purchase new equipment, which is going to be costly as well. The second piece, and this is one that I've been discussing with both Senators Pat Roberts and Jerry Moran, is that there's no crop insurance for hemp. And one of the reasons why is because, like with wheat or with milo or soybeans, if it's a weather-related event, you can get crop insurance, or if something else would happen, you can get crop insurance on that particular crop. With hemp, where you have to have it tested to make sure that the THC level is not above the 0.3%, there's no crop insurance out there in regards for what the terminology would be if the field would go hot, which means it go above the 0.3% THC. So therefore, there's no crop insurance nationwide really for the hemp crop. And so we're trying to figure out some way of trying to establish some type of crop insurance to protect the farmers if there's maybe a weather-related event that would wipe out their crop, and then they would get some type of retribution if that would happen. But those are the two biggest things, the upfront costs and trying to grow hemp. Hopefully those prices will go down as time goes on, and then also trying to establish some type of crop insurance for the hemp crop itself. Well, the only thing that I would probably say is right now our Kansas farmers are struggling. We have low commodity prices. We're hoping that we can get some of these trade deals and tariffs taken care of with other nations that we've been exporting to for quite some time. And so this is just, as far as commercial hemp, this is just allowing for farmers, if they're wanting to have another crop in their portfolio that they can grow and sell, and then hopefully sustain the agricultural business in the state of Kansas, because it is the #1 economic driver in the state of Kansas. So we need to do everything we possibly can to make sure that it's stable and is taken care of.
Industrial hemp may prove to be a very profitable cash for farmers should they choose to fill out their applications and pay the fees, as well as take the risk. So, what are some of the views on industrial hemp?
Honestly, I think that plant will change the world. It's just going to take a long time to get there. There's a lot of infrastructure that has to be constructed, built. It's just not something that's going to happen overnight. But the benefits from the plant, from medicinal aspect to the myriad of products that you can make from it, whether it's textiles, food grade products, animal products, construction, building products, yeah, so the list is endless. And you'll hear numbers that can range from 15,000 to 50,000. So I don't know exactly what that perfect number is, but it's a completely 100% natural plant, and it's got benefits from top to bottom. So
we have an opportunity to change the way farming is done, and it will forever be changed, and it'll be forever be changed for the good. We have farmers out in Western Kansas, we have farmers everywhere that are barely making any money planting wheat, which in the problem with that is you're planting wheat in Western Kansas or whatever else you're planting in Western Kansas, you have the expense of, you have to run your circle. So you're putting money into that, you're not making any money with the crop, you're taking industrial hemp, you're planting that, you don't have circle expense because it barely needs any water. It sits there and grows, it makes lots of money, it's environmentally safe, it doesn't take any herbicides, it doesn't need to take any pesticides, the bugs aren't going to mess with it. The herbicide side of it is it creates a canopy so nothing can grow underneath it, so you don't have to fight grasses, you don't have to fight other weeds, because it just outgrows everything. So it gets on top of it. And it's a lagoon, which I had mentioned before. It's a lagoon that actually puts nitrates back in the ground. That's why it's a perfect rotation for wheat. You plant the hemp in the summer, and it has a 90-day growth cycle. So there's a possibility of having 2 crops of hemp being able to be planted depending on what you harvest, what you want to get off of it. If you want to get the bloom for CBD oils, you want to get the green seed, you want to get the fiber, all those are different days during that 90-day cycle. So you don't have, it's unlike wheat, where wheat grows and everybody's trying to do the same thing in the same 2 weeks. So you're growing hemp, and one farmer may do this, one farmer may do that, and the other option now is you may have, because everybody's switching around doing different times during the frame, you may be sharing equipment, because that allows you to do that instead of everybody trying to do the same thing at one time.
Like everything new, I call it friction. There's a lot of friction right now, and friction creates heat, and heat creates smoke, and smoke creates fire. Through the heat, and all that energy is going to be expensed over the next 3 to 5 years. Good, bad, ugly. There's going to be people making products that don't really have CBD in it and selling it to human beings and thinking they're doing well because they're making a lot of money. Hopefully, it all comes back to what we're doing here at the Academy. Education. Learn about hemp, learn about the real values of hemp, learn about the CBD oils, learn about full spectrum, learn about CBD, understand it, understand terpenes. Without that understanding, all you're doing is listening to somebody that really knows nothing about it. Face it, right now, hemp in the United States of America is 5 years young. 5 years ago, Colorado was able to grow it. Now we have a few other states that are doing a nice job with it. And there's 50,000 other products that we can be focused on besides CBD. And all of those products make money, and all of those products make farmers wealthy, along with manufacturers an opportunity to grow commerce in small town America. Where you're from, out western Kansas, we have small towns out there that could literally increase their revenue stream by hundreds of millions of dollars literally within a year, just by learning how to cultivate seed to sale hemp, but more importantly, meeting buyers that want the products that you're going to cultivate. That's the most important part of it.
With opinions on hemp changing as education informs people to the true nature of the crop, it seems only a matter of time before industrial hemp once again takes its place among one of Kansas's and even the United States' top crops. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Real Ag on industrial hemp. As always, you can check out this and other episodes of Real Ag by going to shptv.org. From the producers of Smoky Hills Public Television, this has been Real Ag. Production of Real Ag is made possible in part by an underwriting grant from
the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by farmers.